Hey, all you mentees, this is the Uncanny Omar, and join me as I do an overview of the Vampirella Archives hardcover from Dynamite, so please stay tuned. And welcome back, all you mentees. Now, before I get started doing an overview of this book, I want to give a huge shout out to Vincent Faust for sending this book my way. I did this video back in December, and for some reason, all my videos got deleted off of my hard drive, so I had to do it again. Regardless, here it goes. Now, I've done overviews of Creepy and Eerie, and you all know how much I love those anthology series. I'm a big fan of the horror genre, and those with the EC books like Haunt of Fear, Tales from the Crypt, and Vault of Horror are among my favorite ones. Vampirella, let's actually look at it really quick as I talk a little bit about this book. So here's what the spine looks like. It is Archives Volume 1. This has been out for a while. It's still in print, so it's easier to find. And the back contains issues 1 through 7. There's a little blurb here from this guy, James Cameron, director of Avatar, Titanic, Aliens, and Terminator. I don't know. I guess he's a small time director. Maybe he'll make it big someday. Ooh, he should do a Spider-Man movie. Okay, anyway, I love this gold foil within the book. And then the spine. This is what it looks like without the dust jacket. Now, I've used the term fake leather before, and I never know what term to use because I've heard pleather, I've heard leather foul, and now somebody corrected me in the comments and said this is a leatherette. So it's got this leatherette cover. Now, let's look in the book and talk a little bit about this character. Okay, so opening it up, this is a hardcover, just like the Eerie and Creepy Archives. As a matter of fact, this is the same dimensions as those, so they fit rather well together. Here, let's talk about the cover here. This gorgeous, wonderful cover. Always like that cover. Now, I was introduced to the character of Vampirella through the pages of Harris Comics back in the 90s. That's who owned the rights to these characters after Warren. So a little bit of history. The character was originally published in Warren magazines, like Creepy and Eerie. She was the host of the Vampirella magazine, which you're looking at here. And this was all the way back in 1969, early 70s, late 60s. And the creators were, I think they credit Forrest J. Ackerman and then comic book artist Trina Robbins as the two creators. And then eventually other people came in on board, like Archie Goodwin. So these first few issues are hosted by her, much like Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie. She hosts a series of anthology horror stories. And I think later on she gets to be the star of all these stories, of her own ongoing story. So she's already in the stories herself, unlike Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie. She's already in a couple of the stories, but later on, I believe, the magazine just becomes about her. And Warren Magazine published this all the way up until the early 80s when it went bankrupt, so all Eerie, Creepy, and Vampirella got canceled. Now, the rights after that went to Harris Publishing. And Harris started making their own comic books in the 90s. As a matter of fact, I think they even brought out another issue or two of Vampirella, of this classic magazine. And then eventually they ended up going under, and now the rights belong to Dynamite. So Dynamite publishes these, whereas Eerie and Creepy Archives are published by Dark Horse. And that's one thing to keep in mind. But it looks like the restoration and the paper quality and the binding of the book, which we'll look at here in a little bit, are about the same, honestly. Really, this book seems to have a lot more pages than Eerie and Creepy. Those collect about 5 issues each, and this collects 7 issues. Now, this is mature content, so I will throw that in there. There's nudity, there's talk of... It's really not sexual content, but there is talk of it, some. But there's plenty of nudity, if you're into that. But, oh my gosh, just looking at some of this artwork. You've got artists like Neil Adams. Not only that, but, you've got wonderful covers by Frank Frazetta. Of course, I don't pull the Frank Frazetta page, and that's not Frank Frazetta. Aha, let's go back to that, of course. Damn, that is gorgeous. But inside the books, you've got, like I mentioned, Neil Adams, Tom Sutton, Dom Glut, Ernie Colin, the wonderful and amazing William Graham, who went on to do books like Power Man for Marvel Comics, Jeff Johns, and Alan Weiss, just to name a few. As a matter of fact, look at all the talent in the book. I think it's printed all the way up here. So you got all these featured artists, and then all these writers here. And like I mentioned, oh, Gardner Fox. I didn't even see him in here. Oh, Doug Munch. Somebody corrected me the other day on how to say that. I got you. So 388 pages is what you're looking at. There's some booty there. You all knew what you were going to get into with mature content when I was talking about Vampirella. So don't even act surprised like you saw a booty slip. I'm trying to cover up the other stuff, but just looking at some of this wonderful artwork. The magazine, light, eerie, and creepy, originally published in black and white. So don't freak out thinking they took away the colors. The covers, however, and then of course the back ads and things like that are in color. Now I haven't read any of her new run, like her recent run. No, Maddie's a big fan of her recent stuff. But me, I like my older magazines. I like collections like this. I never got to read them as kids. I used to just check them out at the library. So to own them like this is a really cool way of having them. Now, I said it was 111 or so comics. I think it's how long it lasted. So the Dynamite Archives, there's going to be quite a few of them. And I don't know what I just started here. Hopefully I be able to get some and they're not all out of print. Now, as far as the binding of the book, I do want to point out that it's glued binding and not sewn binding. And one of these days, I need to do a video on these terms that I use. Not that it's difficult, but or how to open. A lot of people have asked me how to first open these hardcovers. And there are plenty of videos out there, but if you all want me to do one, I do not mind at all. Much love to all my viewers and subscribers. So that's pretty much the gist of this. And having read this entire volume, by the way, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting because it's so different than Creepy and Eerie in the way that, well, how do I put it? There are more starlets in this series than there are dudes that are in trouble. I guess that might be the best way to put it if you've never read some of this stuff. So a lot of the time in Creepy and Eerie, much like the case in the EC magazines, you know, it's about evil people just getting their comeuppance. That's pretty much what it is. Whereas this, it's a little bit different. Sometimes there's a little bit of a twist. But man, there's some gorgeous artwork in here. And the stories are hit and miss. But the artwork is where it's at. Now, you can purchase this book from cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you Minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the contents of the book, the build of the book, and the page count. Let me know down below if you've already picked up the Creepy and Eerie Archives, if you've been picking up Vampirella or you didn't know where to start, if you've been getting her new run and didn't have any of her original stories. I'd love to know those comments down below. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. We can be found on Patreon and on Redbubble, and all of that information is in the description below. It's a great way to support the channel if you can do so. And thank you to our existing patrons. And remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint.